Hey guys, okay, so it's been a while since I've been in my own room and trying to make a video for you all. As you can see, I got hurt at work, so here's my finger. I have a band-aid on it. So if anybody's wondering, I posted a video already about my finger I hurt. A freaking brick hammer. My hand was in the way of a brick hammer and blah blah blah. And he said, "Ching, ching," and he like nailed the out of my finger, but it didn't hurt. I'm lying, it did. I'm not going to sit there and complain about it because at least it's not worse than it was. But if you look at my past video, when I was laying outside in the grass, you can see it. I actually show it, so it's not disgusting, anything like too disgusting, but it is anyway. Anyway, anyways, I wanted to talk to you all about tithing because that's something that I have not been doing as much. And however, I always knew that, if God understands your situation, it would be kind of, you know, unnecessary to give, the church your last or all that you have, when you can be actually using that money for something that you need, because why give it to him? I was thinking like this, like, why give him the money when he just gave it to you? Now, I was concerned about just knowing the fact that if you when God blesses you with some money, then it's up to you to do the right thing with them, but we all have choices. So I was literally doing the right thing with the money and spending my money in moderation and conserving, and saving, and not spending my money on the wrong things. And I was literally trying my best. I was praising God over the money. People like to say that the money is the root of all evil. It's not. The love of money is the root of all evil. It can be, depending on what you're doing and how you're going to manage it, what you're using it on, and stuff like that. Now, this is going to put some like really, really tough thoughts in your head because I actually um read a scripture. I went to church, and my grandmother was telling me to pay my tithes. I've always been a church going person, paying my tithes and whatnot. So um it tells you that if you do pay your 10%, then God will bless you in tenfolds. That in tenfolds is meaning I would bless you not with only money, 10 times of what I've given you, than what you've actually given me. But the tenfolds actually means health and stability, financially, your home, things that you need every day. A relationship, those type of things will fall in place. It's like a ritual, like how some people do witchcraft and they use different spells to get money and current coming in. Those are all things that will help you um believe into, kind of manifest a way of money to come in. You can do whatever you want in order for you to manifest money, but Christians manifest money through tithing. There's a difference between tithing and offering. Tithing is by word. You need to give your 10%, and offering is just if you have anything extra to offer, then you can do that, and God is pleased with that. You don't have to give that as much, but according to how much you're able to give out, it doesn't matter. It's an offering to help for any other thing that the church actually needs. Now, here's the icing on the cake. So if you pay your 10%, you will actually, let me put it this way. When people see 10%, they know it's not much, but they think it's a lot. And it's actually not a lot at all. If you have $1, you give him a penny. If you have $5, you give him a nickel. If you got $10, you give him $1. If you have $100, you give him $10. You have $50. You see what I'm saying? Um, it's really not that much. Um, $5 a nickel. Boom. You see, it's the 10%. Now he said, if you give me that 10%, you can keep the rest of it. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But I'm trying to tell you that if people who study witchcraft and do all type of spells and things like that to get money, the whole entire time, they could have been just utilizing the Bible to get money. And not only money, see, people have different rituals and things like that. You know, witchcraft, that's a ritual in order for people to manifest something to get what they want. However, people manifest things in the Christian way, and in the Christian way, they do not want to use witchcraft. They want to use God's craft. And a lot of people turn away from that because they pull away. A lot of people wonder, well, why don't I have money all the time? Why am I always getting fired from a job? Why am I always losing my place? Why is my relationship like this? I'm a good person at heart. I know how to manage my money and spend it the right way. And I'm still going through this phase and I don't know why, you know. And people literally wonder why. But if you really, for my Christians, if you really, really think about it, it says in Malachi in the 3rd chapter, 8 through 12, read that and it would tell you that you are robbing God just by not giving him the 10%. Now, you might think, well, how can I be robbing God if I'm doing everything the right way? But that he tells me I'm saving my money. I'm not spending it on things I don't need. I'm treating my body like a temple. I'm not buying things or not putting anything in my body. I know how to treat other people. Why am I going through what I'm going through? People literally wonder. That's the thoughts that I had in my head as well. And I'm pretty sure other people feel the same way. Now, to put the icing on the cake, it says in there that once you do not pay your 10%, which is really nothing compared to what you make, 10% is nothing. I mean, like I said, you can have $1. He asked for a penny. That's a ritual that you can have to sit there. Isn't that exciting to see? Like, you've done witchcraft to try to get what you wanted, and you waited and you tried the little bit of things that the ritual says to do, and you waited to see it manifest. But if you wouldn't be excited, you was excited to do that, but you was also scared because it was a type of it was something that God was not pleased with. That, you know, it was something that God said he wasn't pleased with. Yes, Jesus died for your sins and he forgave you, this and that and the third. Yes, that is true. But we all live and we learn according to what type of spirit you have. You know, you wouldn't really be worried as much because you know that God loves you. He knows the intent of your heart and things like that. But long story short, I was trying to get you guys to understand that it says it in there that if you do not pay your 10% of what you get, you will experience a curse. You will be under a curse, literally. You won't be cursed, but you will be, well, actually it says it in there. It said you will be cursed. It says it. I'm just trying to sugarcoat it a little bit to make you feel good and not be scared. But it doesn't mean that you're going to stay that way. Because now I'm telling you, and now you know, you're not going to be cursed. You were up under a curse. You probably was cursed and no longer is. The sad thing is that some people's families are Christians or comparing themselves to be a Christian, and they're not going to church paying their tithes, and they're struggling keeping up with their bills and car payments, or they're walking. And it also says that if you do not pay your tithes, that you will be constantly having an empty cabinet of food. You will always be wanting food. You don't have any food in your house, you know, and things like that. Like, it says it word from word, you know. So forget about doing the witchcraft to get money, to get a good relationship, to get you know, and all these other things, because he said, I will bless you more than you think you will be blessed with. That's a good one. Because witchcraft, you do different little spells and different little rituals to get different little things. And all you had to do was just do that 110%, and that's covered with health. That's covering your finances. That's covering what you wear, your appearances, your mindset. All of that. He said, I will bless you more than what you think you would get blessed with. So that's why it's important to actually pay your tithes, guys. Now, to get you guys to understand that this is really, really serious. Now, don't forget to go back to Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 12. Read that. I got that in church. My grandma would tell me to pay my tithes and things like that. And I got so angry because I'm like, I know how to manage my money. I know what to spend my money on. I know not to spend it on things that I'm not supposed to, and things like that. So what are you doing? And I've also told her that I've experienced I felt like, I've experienced God has blessed me. I saw God bless me and bless me and bless me over and over again, even when I wasn't going to church paying my tithes because I was managing my money the right way. But I forgot when I talked to her, my grandmother over the phone, who was trying to get me to go back to church and pay my tithes. I forgot that she actually, that I went to church. She told me I should maybe find a church to go into. I went to a church and I did pay my tithes one time at that church. And then I didn't go back ever again because I continued to get my church like on through the TV instead of going to a church, or I still continue to go on YouTube and look at things to, that was making me feel like, I needed to use this person's advice, that person's advice, in order for me to get what I needed. And at the end of the day, I forgot that I did go to church. I did pay my tithes. So that whole year, I was good. That's how long it carried. Now, this is how you can know that it's true. My family as an example. So my grandmother, if you go on my Facebook page, you can see some people do picture readings. So you can kind of read people's pictures and know what they are alike, by what you see. And people can picture read. And if you're a really good picture reader, you can see that we do have a family that we love each other. We love each other. You can tell that we've been through a lot. But you can also see that we have people in our family that love us. Out of my brother, me, and my mom, we went to church sometimes, but we were never really church going people. I was, however, at a very young age, I continued to go to church, and I also continued to pay my tithes whenever I could, but I wasn't doing it as much. I also realized that my brother, Charles, not the light skinned one with the dress in the picture, my brother Charles goes to church every Sunday and he pays his tithes. He keeps him a job. He gets his raises. He keeps him a house, his bill paid. And he goes to the gym. He always has, and he keeps himself in church and around positive people, and good things are happening for him, and he's getting more jobs and things like that, and more money's coming in, and God is blessing him. My grandmother, however, she kept her a car. She kept her bills paid. She always had food in her house. She never really, got to the point to where she really needed help, and leeching off of other people. She paid her tithes in church. And that was God blessing her for everything. Her health increased, and it was getting better, and this and that and the third. It's always, we all go through something in a phase with our health or situations, but it don't last for a long time, especially when you go to church and you pay your tithes. Now, my auntie, my aunt Sandra, she was a church going person. Also, she would pay her tithe, but then she also pulled away from church for a while. But however, she started going back to church and paying her tithes, and she said that she can actually see that God has been where God was trying to bless her and give her more things. She said now she see why it's important to pay your tithes, because she keeps her bill paid. She keeps a good job. She doesn't have to worry about transportation. She keeps herself up to par, looking nice, and presentable. Her appearance is really good, and um, and see that, and that's when I compared myself. I said, hey, I'm doing everything right, and I have a good heart. I know who Jesus and God is in my heart. That's the main thing. I'm spiritually there. I've been saved. I've been baptized. I don't know why, I noticed that, it's not the people you need to be around, it's also you. But the environment that you're around can also hinder you from success sometimes, depending on what type of environment it actually is. Now, I've cut my friends loose away. I stayed to myself. I never, went to parties or anything like that. I've always stayed in the house. I went to work and came home, went to the grocery store, came home, laundromat, came home. I managed my money correctly. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I saved my money. I only bought healthy foods. I became a vegan, all that stuff. I said, God is blessing me and I'm loving everything. I'm saving money. I said, I'm doing everything right without going to church, without paying my tithes. But I've tricked myself because when my grandmother told me that I should go to church and start paying my tithes again, and I did it that one time, that's why God blessed me with everything else. But I've been living my life right and paying my dues. When I say paying my dues, it wasn't tithes. I'm like paying my dues or things that I needed. I was doing that without going to church. But then I thought about it. I said, Chris, you went to church one time this year. So I'm pretty sure when you went to church that one time and you gave God your 10%, I'm pretty sure everything that's happening right now, I'm pretty sure that's because you paid your tithes, and it makes a lot of sense. So long story short, my mother struggled a lot. My mother was a church-going person. My grandmother always kept my mother in church. And it really hit me before years ago, but it didn't dawn on me until like recently. My mother was always struggling with keeping up with doing the right thing with her money, not being abusive to things that she don't need. Um, um, Struggled with keeping food in the house and things like that. And it just wasn't normal because I said, why are your children going through this? And, you have a good example. Your mother's doing the right thing. You have a good example. So you should be following that example and you shouldn't be going through what you're going through. So some people, parents are, have been into, the drug abuse and things like that. And not everyone has a parent that's been through that phase, but I don't really talk about too much of my family when it comes to the negative part, but I do have to help other people feel okay about explaining and letting them get a better insight about where they are, where their parents are in life, and this, that, and the third. So I thought it was really, really neat that I came up with this. My grandmother, I just thank my grandmother so much because when she told me about paying my tithes and things like that, I got really angry. I was like, I know how to manage my money. I know who God is. God knows what I'm doing with my money, and He knows my heart. So I don't need to actually prove to you by going to church and paying my tithes when the church is in us. The church is us, not the building. But I didn't argue too much because I said, well, if I can practice this ritual that's outside of God, but I kept Him though. Even though I was doing other rituals, I still kept God and was thanking Him. So that was just a way of showing of God showing me that, hey, this is your key in order for you to get the things that you want. Yes, you are a good person. Yes, you are saved. Yes, you do know who I am, but I told you to do it just like this, and then you will start seeing it. See, even though I was terminated from my job when I was doing everything the correct way, and I did feel that my boss was being racist towards me. But however, that probably would not have happened if I'd have paid my tithes. Probably still been in there, and God looks out for people when they do that. He said, I will bless you in tenfold and bless you and give you more than what you think you're going to get. See what I'm saying? I may have been scared that the boss at work was mistreating people and showing favoritism and was upset about um me speaking up when I thought that he was doing wrong, when I knew he was doing wrong. God could have just intervened in that, if I had kept going to church and see, and everything would have been okay. However, I've utilized the men's shelter before, and I was like, okay, why am I back in the shelter again? Oh yeah, because I lost that job, or I did this wrong, or but I've done everything right. It's just that transportation issue, and this and that and third. But all that would have been fine if I'd have paid my tithe. See, God would look out and bless for things like that. Not saying He's going to do it if you don't do it, if you don't pay your tithe, because then that's called mercy. That's called mercy. So, and so the bottom line is, I looked at my family and I said, wow, my brother goes to church, pays his tithes every Sunday. He keeps a car, his bill paid, money in his pocket, food in his house. He never goes hungry, and he never have to borrow money for somebody. Anything like that. My grandmother is the same way. My aunt is the same way, and that's because they go to church and pay their tithes. So then when I went to church and paid my 10%, that's when I started seeing God blessing me with more and more opportunities. Like, I slept in a shelter in the lobby area for like 2 weeks, and trying to get a bed, and then end up going to church and paying my tithes, and boom, got a bed the next day. Boom. Didn't have any, my boots got wet at work, and then I set them out in the lobby area at the shelter, and janitor, someone came and either took them because it's a shelter, or someone just threw it away. Don't really know, didn't ask. But luckily someone from the shelter ended up giving me some new shoes, and another guy gave me a new pair of shoes, and I was thanking him, and thanking God. Then I didn't have a coat at the time because I just got up out of High Point and came to Greensboro with basically nothing because I didn't care at the moment. As long as I got to Greensboro, I needed to work. And God started blessing me, opening doors for me. I started getting good reports at work, like always. But I wasn't overlooked with my hard work. And that's another thing. I'm a hard worker. Um, um, and I wasn't overlooked at this new place that I was actually working in. So I really thank God for that. And I really, really think that is a great way to start tithing and manifesting the things that you actually want. So I thought it was really, really pretty cool. But now I know, and this is not to put my mother's business out there. She thinks I'm talking about her on Facebook, this and the third, or YouTube. And I'm telling her that if she understands YouTube, the power of YouTube, some people can go out there and bash their parents, or some people can go out there and try to help people and um, understand where they are in life based on a testimony. It's nothing negative that I'm putting out there. It's just helping someone understand a point of view. So thank God that I'm not that type of person that's actually, no, I'm going to literally give it to you respectfully and without using profanity and things like that. So, some people have parents where like the mother would choose a bad boyfriend, and the boyfriend can come in and just like take over the mother's thoughts. They're not even married, and forget about the children or put the child out the house, kick them out, and don't even understand that that whole time you probably would not probably, you paid your 10%. If my mother paid her 10%, then that man would not be in her house. The family would be together and not separated. You see what I'm saying? Everyone's going their own way, and that's how certain families are. It's not anything bad, because as long as we know who Jesus Christ is, and as long as we know who God is in our heart, and we know how to treat other people, that's all that matters. As long as we are praying for one another and we stick together, then that's okay. So some people need to really, really, literally understand that. Um, yes, my mother still has a boyfriend in the house, and he is not a good fit for her. He doesn't go to church and pay his tithes, so that's a double whammy. Okay, and that hurts the family. So whenever she gets if there's any prayer warriors out there, pray for that for my mother, please, and for our family to get some salvation. Even though we have it, I have it. It's in all of us, and for people I don't even know, I send them a prayer. I always do. I say, God, please forgive me for all my sins, and please let everyone around me receive a blessing, even though the people I don't even know, I haven't even met, let them receive a blessing right now. I always do that. And it picked up a little bit more recently since I've been going to church, paying my tithes. But yeah, seriously, but I've been doing it even when I wasn't. So, but still, it picked up a little bit more. So yeah, that's tithing, and I heard I watch Ashira Star Goddess sometimes too. I watch Ashira all the time. But she has a friend who is an intuitive reader. Her name is Mama Dee Taylor, and she's on my Facebook page. You can look at her and see her profile. You can also look at her YouTube channel. It's Mama Dee Taylor also. Dee Taylor Intuitive, and she's an intuitive reader. But what it was is that it's for an example, a Sure Star Goddess and Mama D are really close friends, but sometimes they don't see eye to eye because Ashira believes that you can still be blessed and prosper without well, she probably thinks something else different now. I can't really say, but um whatever you need to prosper, Ashira believes in using natural based things, and she also believes in God based things also. Um, so she just decodes a lot of good things, and then Mama D Taylor believes in um, nothing beats the power of prayer. Don't matter what type of ritual or spell you do, nothing else beats the power of prayer. And that's really, really good because I'm glad they both are together because they both can help each other. And it's so funny. So yeah, go check their pages out. Yeah, I think Ashira Star Goddess also. And I'm gonna make a video about Mama D too. But here is part of it. So this is the tithing, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope I reached someone, and share this with someone about tithing, because if they're losing their job, if they're homeless, they don't have a car, they're walking, they never have any money in their pocket, they're always asking someone for something, tell them it's because they're not paying their 10%, and it's not even much that you're giving the church. It's your 10%. You don't have to do tithe and offering. Just do the tithe. And then when you have enough money to do an offering, then you give them an offering. And the offering don't even got to be that much. The offering can be 2 pennies. But make sure you pay your tithe. Your tithe is nothing. If you had $1, give him 1 penny. You see what I'm saying? It's not that hard. So just think about that. Bye, guys.